Hello and welcome to the Real Deal Trio podcast, where we dive deep into the world of real estate, business, and personal growth. I'm your host, Yahya Chotani, joined by my esteemed co-hosts, Mohit Badlani and Phil Mariani. Together, we bring you a wealth of knowledge and expertise to help you navigate through the complexities of the real estate market, unlock business success, and cultivate a life of balance and fulfillment. So get ready for insightful conversations, actionable advice, and also a whole bunch of inspiration. So let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome everyone to our new podcast, The Real Deal Trio. Now, we call it The Real Deal Trio because there's three of us. As you guys know, my name is Mohit Badlani. Everyone calls me Mo. And with me, I have two hosts this time. I got Yahya Chotani that helped join us last year in our previous podcast. And this time we have a new co-host, Phil Mariani. We are the Real Deal Trio. We will be talking about homes, real estate in Florida, like we did in the past. And we will be talking about businesses, local businesses, your business, our business. We'll be talking about everybody's business. We're going to be snooping in everybody's business and balance. So we're going to be talking about life balances as well. We're not just going to be talking just real estate and bore you with just real estate. We tried not to bore you last time with our real estate either, but we're just going to mix it up this time. And I do want to say, hey, shout out to Judson. Judson was a huge part of our show before. And I mean, me and him started this Moving to Florida show podcast. And unfortunately, he decided not to continue this time around. But, he might pop up every once in a while, come say what's up. He's more than welcome to. He's part of our show and part of the show for life. But whenever he ever wants to come back on, he's more than welcome to. But he's doing his thing, though. He's all well. He's healthy. He's doing good. Him and his family are doing fantastic. So you guys know me. I'm Mo. I know we're doing a little refresh on this show. We're going to be coming to you weekly like before. I know we'd had some gaps previously, but this time we're trying not to have this many gaps. So let me introduce our first host, Yahya Chotani. Yaya's in the mortgage industry, and he's going to give you a little bio on himself too.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Thank you, Mo, for the lovely introduction and the details. Yes, we've been gone for a little bit, but we've been busy revamping the show, as Mo said. We used to talk about real estate finance, and that was the biggest part of the show. But now we're back with a lot more cool stuff. And a big part of this is, as much as we may seem exciting people doing mortgages and real estate, we're kind of boring a little bit too. We're kind of nerdy. We read a lot of books. And then a lot of times we learn really cool things about life that we thought would be awesome to share with the audience, especially work-life balance. In today's economy, I think we can all agree. And with our special guest, Phil Mariani, who's also a fitness enthusiast and has been in the industry for a long time. What's fascinating is when we get together and we talk, the conversations lead from money, transactions, to your health, how to still live healthy as you grow older, because we all know, our bodies start crackling. I'm not even that far ahead. I'm like 36, but every morning I feel like I'm bricks. It's like the weird sounds like, it's like, man, everything hurts. So we have Phil Mariani over here. I would love, and I'm excited to introduce him. So Phil, please take the floor, my man.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be a part of this new show, and couldn't have asked to be a part of the show with two better people than you guys. I mean, this is like you said, the Real Deal Trio right here, right? So we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk real estate. We're gonna talk market. We're gonna talk health. We're gonna talk fitness. We're gonna talk life, and we're gonna just be relatable, man. We're three average guys that are just in the grind, hustling every day. And I love real estate. It's my passion. I love fitness. I had 25 plus years in the health and wellness industry prior to real estate. And, I still, live the lifestyle and just excited to be here with you guys.
Thank you, Phil. That's awesome, brother. So Mo, let's kick it off today and talk a little bit more.
What are we going to be talking about?
Well, why don't we just give everybody a good overview of what we're going to do and just, give them a little nice welcome.
So obviously, like we all touched upon it. We're going to be talking about real estate in Florida, Central Florida. We're not only just what's happening in the residential side, commercial side, what's coming new as far as theme parks, as far as new infrastructure that's happening. There's a lot of growth that's happening here in Florida, and we want everybody to know about it. And we'll try to get you up the most accurate and up to date news. And we're not going to be like our previous episode, a previous show. We're gonna adult it up just a little bit. We were a little PG before. We're gonna go PG-13 this time around. You'll be hearing us say some adult words every once in a while. We'll use a little profanity. We're just going to be ourselves, and we're going to be talking about our experiences here in Florida when it comes to real estate, when it comes to our business, and when it comes to how we balance our day to day. So you guys can hear that on a weekly basis. We're trying not going to bore you too much with the yoga and meditation and all that stuff, but we're gonna give you some positive vibes, that's for sure.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome, bro. So let's kick it off and talk a little bit about what happened from the beginning of the year. I know this is a big question I'm getting asked every day by almost all of our clients that, hey, man, the rates were supposed to come down. What happened? They haven't come down yet. And it's been a little crazy.
They did just a little bit. They did.
Yeah, just a tad. But last week they spiked back up, and it's been a little crazy of a ride because we've been seeing these spikes up and down, and as soon as that happens, it immediately impacts the market, like right on point. But what's very interesting is that there are big companies, and I'm not sure a lot of people are realizing this, but there are huge hedge funds that are still buying real estate and they're doing cash deals. So a lot of these properties are still getting scooped up. And when the rates go up, they get in cash offers. People that have mortgages, even if they're lower rate, but they have a lot of debt, which I don't know if anybody saw, but there was a recent stat that came out that the average American has about $200,000 of equity in their homes, but their average debt is exceeding $100,000. So if you don't have the cash to pay that and you have a house, what you're trying to do is you're trying to sell the house, cash in, protect yourself, and not ruin your credit. But at the same time, all these big companies buying all these properties, it leaves very stiff competition for actual buyers who are now struggling. Are you guys seeing a lot of this on your side, Phil and Mo?
What I'm seeing mostly in the towards the end of last year into this year was we saw a lot of buyers become a lot more apprehensive and putting out offers and stuff like that. And if they would put on offers, it'd be very, very low ball offers. They thought it was a complete buyer's market, but unfortunately, it's not, because inventory is still quite low, and our market is still thriving. I mean, we have 2 months of inventory. Our market's still thriving. Buyers are still buying, and but again, they were very apprehensive towards the earlier part of the year, is because interest rates weren't coming down as quickly as they thought they would. I mean, the Fed said, "Hey, we're going to put a pause on interest rate hikes, and we're going to start lowering them this year." But unfortunately, it's as quickly as it went up, it's not going to come down as quickly either. It's gonna take its time coming down, and I think by the end of this year we should. I think we should be. We should be in a better place. I don't know how much better, but we will be in a better place.
So my thoughts is beginning of January, it was kind of sort of slow, and then like probably at the second week of January, we our business we felt a big burst in your buyers and sellers, and then all of a sudden it's kind of tapered off. So it's been a little bit weird. But what we've been experiencing is we've been getting a lot of people looking to upgrade. So we've been getting a lot of people that are looking to sell and buy and upgrade. So that's where we've been experiencing the beginning of this year. We had 3 closings the month of January, and then we had 3 in February. We got 2 for March. And, like Yaya said a few weeks ago, we had a big dip in interest rates. I think, I think FHA was at as low as a 5.5. Convention was at as low as a 6.25. Man, I thought buyers were going to be coming out of the woodworks, to get on the contract, but it didn't. I was like, wow. I said, this is crazy. So I don't know
I
if
think they just got spoiled with the twos and threes.
we definitely got
Yeah.
spoiled, with that. So I just think maybe they're just, little maybe buyer confidence now. Maybe they're just waiting to see what happens with the market. I think people were expecting rates to come down sooner, but the Feds are holding back a little longer. So I think the most important thing we need to do right now is just help as many people, kind of just get under contract between now and mid year, and till we get those get the rates down a little bit more.
Yeah, no, you're right, bro. That's kind of what I saw too. That you're right. When the rates were that low, there was a flurry of applications. People were
Mhm.
just calling, "Hey, can I buy a second home? Can I buy this? Can I buy this?" And what was crazy was I do a lot of DSCR loans, and for anybody who may not know what those are, they're debt service coverage ratio loans. They're awesome for investors. You don't need any income verification documentation. You just need a good credit score, down payment, closing costs, reserves, and the property should appraise and make enough rent to cover the mortgage payment. And you put 20% down or so. But we saw rates on those products as low as, I would say, low 7%, which is insane because typically they range anywhere from 8 to 9%.
Mhm.
And recently we locked somebody and closed them at 7.125%, which is what people are now paying for a primary home. So you're right, man. Like the 2-3% rates have really kind of shifted the market a little bit. Also, there's a lot of for sale by owners that are right now marketing their properties with assumable FHA mortgages at 2.93%. So I think there's a lot of interesting things happening. Plus, with all the changes in the market, I think it's interesting how we all adapt to it and how the consumer is also looking at it. What do you think, Mo?
I completely agree with both of you guys. We're feeling the same effects. I'm in the same team as Phil, so we're feeling the same effects, and I agree with what Yaya said too. But you know what? It is an election year. We do forget that election years after August, September. I think we're gonna see a little bit of a dip. It's because everyone's gonna be focused on politics and voting for the next president and what are things going to look like if Trump comes in or if Biden remains in. So what is the economy going to look like? I feel the way the economy is going, the economy is, if you look at the stock market on paper, it's looking great. But if you ask like somebody on the street, they'll be like, you know what? I'm having a hard time. But you know what? If you ask them to what's your 401k looking, they say looking great right now. so, if you tell them, hey, dive in deeper, it's looking good. But if you look at it on the surface, they're like, yeah, it's a struggle. Groceries are higher. This is higher. That's higher. Yes, granted, groceries insanely high here in Florida. Um, I think the cost of living is definitely surpassed what we're actually making down here. That's I think countrywide, but I think Florida is definitely feeling that effect because I think the state of Florida's inflation rate is higher than the rest of the countries. I don't know why, but ours is a little bit higher than the rest of
I
the
mean, dude,
countries.
think about it. Mo, people are moving from everywhere to Florida, like New York. You know how many people
Exactly,
I've gotten in the
exactly.
last week alone from New York trying to move to Florida? Literally everybody.
Yeah,
And the crazy thing these guys
right.
do is their homes in New York are much more, I would say, high value. It's like almost $1 million. So
Right.
if you have $1 million home, you sell it, you come to Florida, you can buy 2-3 homes. And especially if you're just two people, trying to retire, you buy 1 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, a nice little townhouse. Now you got that much cash to finance more properties. So if one person is buying 3 properties moving down from New York, think about California, Seattle, all these different states. It's driving our
Yep.
prices up,
Yep.
man. Like Miami, I think is crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane right now.
Yeah, even Orlando prices, they've almost doubled and tripled in the last 4 years, 3 years. Just in the area that we live in, Winter Garden, our prices have gone up like almost 50% from last year, almost 100% from last 2 years. You're seeing houses that we used to buy in 2018, 2019 at 300,000. They're selling at 650, 700,000 right now in a matter of 4 years. It's driven prices up, and I wouldn't say people from out of state they're not the only people that have helped raise the value of our homes, it's these investors that have also come
Mhm.
in droves. They're buying 2, 3, 400 homes a month in the last 2 to 3 years. I know they put a pause on it now because the way the economy looks. And Phil can probably speak on this better because he does work with a lot of institutional buyers and sellers. If Phil, if you can expand on that, what did you see last year with institutional buyers versus what are you seeing this year with them? And they're a good gauge of what investors are doing.
So yeah, absolutely. Which call over the past couple of years, probably about a good 2-3 years ago, man. The like you mentioned, institutional buyers who are coming up, coming in here in Florida and just buying up home by the groves. I had a good friend of mine who's a top, producer agent in the South Florida area, works for some major institutional buyers, and man, they were just buying, a couple hundred homes a month, and they were buying cash, and so they were scooping up homes left and right, and they were beating out so many people that were looking for primary homes because they were buying cash. They were even paying at some circumstances. They were paying over, value for them. And, you didn't need appraisal because they were buying cash. So, that really absorbed a lot of the inventory up. And then, last year, they came to a point where they started liquidating, and I was working with one company, that was liquidating properties all over the states, and I helped them liquidate at least 10 here in Orlando in the area where I'm at, and now they haven't bought in a while because once rates went up, they went out of freeze because their cap rate wasn't there, and they couldn't even compete now with. So it gave the little guy or the people that are actually wanted, to purchase homes to live in, the primary owners, it gave them a better shot now to get a home because because of the interest rate. So they stopped buying. Now they're just pretty much liquidating homes. So they were expecting to buy by the end of the year. They're waiting for interest rates to go down as well.
Man, Phil, you said something, and Mo said something earlier that actually caught my attention. So, you guys, Mo said that, hey, homes in my area have gone up to almost 50% in 4 years. And now you're talking about all these institutional buyers coming in and buying real estate, right? And what fascinates me is a lot of times when we're hanging out with people talking, and I know we're in the industry, so I'm not speaking from that bias, but what I'm really saying is investment wise, in as many years as I've spent working professionally and learning, I've seen that real estate has always been a safe investment. Yeah, it's illiquid, of course, like, Phil just pointed out. If you buy a real estate, you're kind of stuck with it. But it's proven over time that if you can play the long game, you always end up on top. I mean, think about it, man. If I buy $20,000 worth of stocks and I wait for the end of the year and I take my capital gains, I got to pay a huge fee on it. And when I take it out, that money's out of the market. I can't really leverage it more than that. But if I take the same 30, 40, 50 grand, that could be a 5% down payment on like a $500,000 house. So the appreciation is not based on 25 grand, it's based on $500,000. So in 5 years, if I make, let's say, a crazy 50% number, man, that's almost $250,000, a 50 grand a year extra money I've made. If I cash that out for whatever I need or just sell that house, man, like it always blows my mind. I don't know what you think of that, Phil, but being in an industry like this, does it drive you crazy sometimes? You're like, man, I don't know what this makes me just feel crazy.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. I've always said, real estate is one of the best, places you could put your money because it's tangible, right? I mean, stock market is great, it's up and down, but you can't feel there's nothing there. So, having, real estate, it's brick and mortar, it's tangible, it's something that you have and you can feel, you touch, right? Is what I kind of say it. And over time, it always will appreciate. So we just kind of got spoiled, man. We've been in the market over the past how many years, especially when I got started. I got started in real estate in April 2015. And for me, it was nothing but going like this the whole time. And I kind of got started at a great time but traditionally, I talked to my dad, oh man, when I bought a home in the 70s, I was paying 11% interest. You guys are spoiled, right? So we really don't, know, our generation or so, or even the millennial generation, though, we got spoiled with these rates and having that 2-3%, that was like, COVID rate, that was like a one-off. That was like a unique thing that happened in our time here, and or hey, we're not going to see something like that again. So, when I got started, rates were, like in the, high fours and low fives. That's where the rates were, and we kind of got spoiled.
Mhm. What do you think, Mo?
Yeah. I don't know if he got spoiled. But remember when your dad bought the house, houses were how much? 50, 60, $70,000, and there was not that much of an income gap at that time between the middle class and the upper class. So yeah, inflation was different then. It wasn't as high or it is now. So I mean, you can say, yeah, interest rates at that time were 11, 12, 13%, which freaking, if it was today, we wouldn't be selling houses at all. We'd be doing something else. Our professions
Seriously.
would be something else. uh, but I mean, in reality, coming up to 7%, that was really, really high. I mean, you're talking about, take me for example. I mean, my house, I was supposed to close in December of 2022, and at that time, it was starting to climb up to like 3.5, 4%. But I ended up closing in the mid January, where it just shot up to 6%, 6.5, 7%. And I ended up at 7.125. So my mortgage from December to January went from 3,500 to almost
That's crazy.
$5,000.
Mhm.
So you can see like what happened. We're all kind of in shock with how quickly the rates went up. But I mean, it is what it is. You know, we're gonna knock on Yahya's door, be like, "Yo, bro, I need that refi, brother. I need that refi." But I'm sure what you're seeing right now. I don't know if you're seeing it on your end, Yahya, but I've known a lot of lenders are still doing a lot of refis and cash out refis because of what people's debts have become in the last 4 to 6 months. Am I right, or you're
Oh,
seeing something
dude,
different?
that's you hit it right on the head. That's why I was kind of bringing the equity part up, because I noticed that, and you don't realize how the economy is being impacted. Obviously, the news and the media is always portraying a negative picture about everything. They always do that, and it's good for clicks and views and this and that.
Gloom
But
and
in
doom, bro.
reality,
Gloom
though,
and doom.
right? Gloom and doom. But right now, people are actually hurting, man. Like business owners, people with W-2s, like you said, the cost of things have gone up so much that you go to Publix and you buy a decent amount of weekly groceries. You'd spend $200 proper, you get enough stuff. Now the same stuff costs almost $400. So you're going weekly to Publix and spending $400. I mean, that adds up, man. Like it's insane.
Especially I know someone that eats a lot like I do. It's like 5, 6 times a day, man. If you
Yeah, like just the eating even out, like a meal now, it probably costs you like at least $15 to $18 to eat something normal for lunch. And if you are out, like, you guys are agents, you guys are always out.
Yeah.
So if you're spending 30, $40 a day to eat, man, how many properties you
Well,
got to
except Phil.
sell?
Phil does meal prep. He doesn't eat out ever.
well,
Yeah. He doesn't
it's
eat
a
out.
good thing I meal prep.
Right?
Yeah.
See, that's where being healthy comes in.
For unhealthy people like me.
That's I we got a meal prep, guys.
No, but on
Yeah.
serious note, though, Mo, to answer your question, what you're right. What we're seeing is that even though people have a lot of equity in their houses, but they have a lot of credit concerns because of credit cards. A lot of people are nearing their credit limits, and because they're not making enough money to be able to pay them. So now you have a mortgage maybe at 3.5%, so you're feeling
Right.
cool. But then you might have 2 or 3 or 4 credit cards at 10, 15, 20 grand a piece. And APR on those is like 18, 20, 24%, which is sick. And, sometimes people take unsecured debts from these companies online. A lot of lenders, I don't know if you guys are seeing them, but I'm seeing a lot of advertisements for lenders offering money on all these unsecured loans to people. Like, hey, here's 5 grand, 2 grand, 10 grand, and people are taking this. So now these loans are at an additional 14, 15, 18%. So now if you take an average of all these different interest rates, you don't really have a true 2.9%. You have an average or blended rate that is now at 5 or 6 or 7%. Plus, if you bought a home at, let's say, 500 grand and you put 20% or 10% down, you're paying that mortgage down. So even though today, when people are doing cash out refinances, they're increasing their rate, if their mortgage has been paid down enough and their other interest rates are reducing, they're spending a lot less money in
Right.
interest. Because if you think about it, really, that your mortgage is, let's say, $2,500 all
Right.
in, but you have all these
Right.
debts. Now the debts are not as
Right.
easy because on a mortgage you're paying more towards principal and then you're paying towards interest. On a credit card minimum payment, most of that's going to the
Interest, yeah.
interest. So you're going to pay this forever. And it's so we're not a PG, we're over PG-13, so you're gonna pay all this shit.
We're PG-13 now. You can say shit.
Right? All this
It's
interest.
okay.
I can say what I want. Most of it, well, not all of it, but but I mean, really though, like you're paying all this money in interest to these lenders, they're making money, but your minimum payments could add up to like $4,000 or $5,000 with no benefit to you. But if you refinance at even a 7% rate, you're basically now paying towards your principal, and you've paid out all these lenders. Your credit score is not going to suffer. Plus, the extra money that you're going to save, if your payment jumped from 25 to even 3,500, but your total external payments were $5,000, if you take that additional 1,000, 1,500 bucks that you were spending on interest and apply that back towards your mortgage anyway, you'll pay your loan off in 10 years less and save over 150 grand in interest further. So when people hear these things, they're like, man, I didn't know I could do that. And you don't have to bring any cash to the table. A cash out refinance is the cost is added back to the loan. So basically you come, you refinance your loan, and you get money wired 3 days later. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. And just another thing to add too, the as I was saying is when you talked about, today a lot of homeowners have equity. So that's another thing. What I believe, there's a lot of people that want to sell, they want to upgrade, but they're sitting in such a good position. They're sitting in a house, they have equity, and they have these low interest rates. And they're like, hey, if I sell, where am I going to go? What am I going to pay for the next house? And then with the interest rate that I got. So that's why there's a lot of, I believe a lot of, pent up buyer demand. There's a lot of, sellers that want to sell, but they're just sitting and waiting for rates to come down, which is also contributing to
Low inventory.
To our inventory issue as well, because every time somebody sells and they buy, they take one off the market, or one goes on, but then they take one back off when they buy and sell. It's like a wash. So we're really not improving. So right now, where we're seeing a lot of what I'm seeing is we're getting a lot of repeat business of clients that purchased a couple of years ago, and where they have equity, they're cashing out and they're upgrading. So. But again, they're putting a house on market, but then they're selling, but they're not buying. So they're taking, putting one on, taking one off. So it's really a wash. So they're really not adding inventory. But that's a big struggle right now. Like a lot of clients say, I want to sell, but I have a 3.5 interest rate, whatever the case is. But they're sitting on equity, which is a good thing. But like, hey, where do I go? Because now, unless they're downsizing, they're going to be paying a lot more for this, for the same house.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, man.
Very tough spot. But people, we got to realize, you can always write off your interest on your taxes. So,
that's a big deal,
remember,
man. And as we say this, we are not tax experts, so please consult a legal professional or a tax professional for more information.
Accountant.
It's
exactly. Give that
Does that add a verbal disclaimer over here? Protect ourselves.
We're not attorneys either, so don't take legal advice from any one of us because we can't.
But there are many, benefits to owning a home.
There are many.
You have many benefits. You have many avenues. Like we were saying, now I guess we did touch on real estate. We did touch on a little bit of business. Did we? Did we touch on a little bit of business of how our businesses are doing? Let's talk about balance now. This is what we're going to be talking about. Let's balance our chakras.
Do I need some sage or something to burn in here?
No, I'm talking about work-life balance. What does work-life balance look like for Yaya?
Well, that's a tough question, man. I mean, it's I got 2 little ones, very little ones. So my workday balance is pretty much covered with work and dirty diapers. So it's
so mortgage on the left hand and diapers on
is,
the other hand. Is that what it is? Is that how you balance?
I'm telling you, when my daughter was born, this was in 2023, November, she's born. And no, 2022, sorry, not 2023. And when she was born, I was, we're looking for a house in Florida. We actually moved to Missouri for a little bit because it was a crazy market. You couldn't find a house. And I'm like, I'm not trying to rent here. So we moved, but we had this little one. And now I work in an office setting, right? So my wife has one, I have one, and we're figuring it out. We're working, she's not working. And I'm still doing loans. I'm still doing Zoom meetings. And at certain points in the middle of the day, while I'm in the middle of a loan file, I generally don't talk to people. I time block. So I have time blocks of 60 minutes where I work nonstop, focus on what I'm doing, and then I take a 10-minute break. On those 10-minute breaks, normally I relax. But this period, I was actually changing diapers, which I'm not really good at, apparently. And then I was getting schooled. Like, oh, you're putting it upside down. Can't you read? I'm like, I don't do this for a living, man. Like I don't know how to do this. It's like you learn all these weird things, but the balance has been, I would say, quite interesting now after almost, 2 years and learning, okay, you got to wake up at a certain time. You have to get your workout in. If you don't get it in, there's no way you're going to get it in. My son loves to cuddle and sleep. So when I put him in, there's no way I'm coming out of that. Like I'm done. No matter what time I put him to sleep, I'm done. So I wake up and I have my pre workout mixed it in the night, ready beside my bed. That's the first thing I shoot in the morning. It's almost like a shot in the face. You're like, all right, you're up. Now you start working out, start your day. And by the time it's evening, now my son started learning fishing a little bit. So I'm trying to teach him. So at 5:30, we just go to the pond, put a couple of rods out, try to catch something. And the weekend, try to hang out with them. So it's been better. But man, initially when I got in the industry, it was pretty bad. I didn't have a system. I was not balanced. I was not blocking time. I was just working like a nut. But then I realized that if you actually organize your day, you systematize it, and you really focus on activities a certain way, initially it's very difficult because things pop in your head all the time. But I would say that I think what I've learned in these recent years with all these different challenges that have come through, time blocking has definitely been a game changer for my work life balance. What about you, Mo?
Well, we're in two working in home environment. My wife works, I work, we both work. My kids are grown. One is working too. so I don't have little ones anymore. I can't use that as an excuse anymore for working extra.
It's like,
Yeah, right. So I mean, usually my day goes off like I get up usually around 7:30 ish, and I'll wake up, get my get myself ready because I don't get my daughters ready anymore. They get themselves ready now. I don't have to no more babysitting, but I do have to drop one of them to school. So I drop Anya to school. Anya is my little one. She's not really little. She's going to be in high school this year, so I've got to drop her off in 8th grade. So I drop her off around 9 a.m. School's not that far away, but it's not so close either. So it's a good 15-minute drive. So by the time I go home, it's 9:30. I'll have breakfast, and then I'll get on the computers, check emails, start my workday and time block that. Usually, it depends on the workload of the day. I'm usually done with my computer emails, whatever I need to do. I'm usually done by noon, maybe 1 o'clock, and then I'll do my own routines that I do, like go through my list of clients and leads and this and that and email. If I need to touch base with somebody, I'll touch base with them that day. I'll also touch base with any title companies, any kind of processes that are going on for that day. So obviously time blocking it does make sense, but then after like around 3:30 ish, I go and pick up Anya again from school. And then 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I start making dinner if it's my turn to make dinner or if it's my wife's turn to make dinner. My wife is also, again, she works from home, but she is a workaholic too. So not only that, her corporate job demands a lot from her. So she sometimes works till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, starts at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning too. So that's my balance, because after 5 o'clock I try to spend time with the kids and I make dinner, and my mom's back now from India, so she's been living with us, and that's my side of the balance. And the time we get to spend together, mostly me and my wife, is on the weekends. So my girls are teenagers. They want to do their own thing, obviously, but they sometimes like to involve us. So they like to tell us, hey, we want to go to Disney today, or we want to go to dinner, or this and that and the other. So we do all kinds of activities in Central Florida. We like to try new restaurants, especially our local restaurants. We love trying our local restaurant. There's a new one that just opened, and my buddy over here, Italian Stallion, he doesn't like to go out much, but if he likes a place, he'll keep going into it until that place shuts down or tells him never to come back again. But He's got to try out this new Italian place that just opened up by Winter Garden. Man, you got to go check it out. So Phil, I personally know what Phil's day usually looks like. I spend half the day talking to him on the phone too, seeing what's going on here, what's going on there. But Phil also wears a lot of hats. So what does Phil's day look like?
Man, that's a loaded question right there. I tell you, you're like complete opposite. Okay, that's like a loaded
Loaded
question.
question.
So, I mean, it varies every day. So, not only me, but my wife and my daughter are all real estate agents. So we're a whole, we're a family of 3 real estate agents. My daughter's going to be 20 years old next month. So, all 3 of us are agents. We're night owls, all of us for the most part. I like staying up late. I call myself an owl, but I try to get up a couple of days a week. I get up around 7:30, and then the other days are 8:30. I try not, but it depends, how late we go to bed. But generally, yeah, generally we're night owls. First thing I get up, me, I'm a fitness guy. I got to get the metabolism going. So as soon as I get up or roll out of bed, slippers are on. I'm heading downstairs to make my breakfast. Usually consists of some type of egg white omelet or something like that with rice and some broccoli or some oatmeal or something like that. I know it doesn't sound very, you know, very exciting, but I'm a structured guy, so I live the bodybuilding lifestyle, so to speak, and I food prep. And for me, it's all about consistency. It's really not about flavor. If I want flavor, I want something new, we go out to a restaurant. That's kind of like a cheat meal for me. But I usually follow a pretty structured system when it comes to eating every about 2.5 3 hours. But I do my meal prep, so I had that ready to go, and it's quick, convenient, it saves time, and at the end of the day, it's healthy, right? And then after I get done with breakfast, I pretty much head into my laptop, and like Mo said, man, I'm going through my emails and I'm answering emails, replying, figuring out what deadlines we got to meet, getting clients ready. So between me and my wife and my daughter, we kind of divide and conquer. So I pretty much I work with all the sellers in our team in our business, and I handle all the listings, and my wife and daughter work with all the buyers. So we kind of divide and conquer, and we kind of, use our strengths and weaknesses that way. So I'm always, on the phone again, just scheduling, walkthroughs or, home inspections or appraisers, for our homes that are for our listings, meeting with, helping to make sure we get clear to close. It's, getting our clients across the line and just going through all emails and schedule and stuff, and a little bit of a little bit of both. And then usually, if I'm going out there, if I'm doing listing presentations or working on getting, more helping whether getting list consultations and working on just trying to get more business. And obviously, but in real estate, nothing ever goes easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it and everyone would be successful at it. So a lot of the
What do you
times,
mean? We have 20,000 agents.
yeah, a lot of times we're putting out fires. You probably heard that expression. A lot of times we're putting out fires. We're sometimes we're problem solving. So a lot of times, that's what we do. We problem solve. A lot of people don't realize what goes on in the transaction, how many people involved, in the background. But there's a lot that goes on, and sometimes we
Yeah.
may make it look easy. But listen, it's because we're doing this for years, and thank God we're good at it. We love what we do, and we're always problem solving. But so we may start out, time blocking, but man, it's a challenge some days for us, and it may go out the window there, because we got an issue and we got to get it resolved. Because our goal at the end of the day is get that client to the closing table, do what we got to do to get it to the closing table. And then usually my time for going to the gym is usually at night. I go to LA Fitness over here by the house. They close at 10 o'clock. I usually get to the gym 8:30 at night. I stay to closing. I do my weights. I do my cardio. So I'm usually closing out the gym at 10 and getting home a little after that, eating my last meal, doing a protein shake. And then depending on how busy I may grab the laptop again for another 30 minutes, an hour to finish up what I haven't, done. And then usually I like to, watch a movie or TV at night before I go to bed. And that, for me, that's what unwinds me. I get so wound out during the day that that kind of what calms me down, and kind of my brain, I go 100 miles an hour, and usually kind of just relaxing and watching a movie or something like that, or is kind of what calms me down so I can go to sleep. So that's a little bit of what the day looks like, for us over here.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's such a I think we all have such different approaches over here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, we do open houses on the weekends, and I mean, we're nonstop 7 days a week. We're showing homes sometimes on the weekends, on weekdays, depending on what our client schedules looks like. I know, Phil, you said you work with most others and whatnot. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I actually prefer not having any days off for me. Like, I like the feeling of just doing a little something, every day instead of because I feel like I'm more in the groove that way. How about you guys? You kind of feel like doing a little something. I mean, obviously you want to have days off and time with your family, but because we're all involved, we do it together in my family because we're on the same thing, but it may be different for you guys.
No,
But
I
I kind
agree
of
with you,
like
Phil. No, I agree, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we some days are lighter load, and you might be hanging out with the family a lot more if you have a lighter load.
yeah,
And
and
sometimes you don't need to be in front of the computer all the time. We have our phones, our iPads usually have everything we need usually on hand. And if you need to send out an email, it's quick, easy. Get your phone out, boom, boom, boom. Get when you need on a lighter day because hey, sometimes in advance if your wife and kids or if you need to go somewhere, be somewhere, do something, hey, you make time for it.
no, you're right, man, and I agree with what Phil said. I think it's to do with owning a business. When you're working in like mortgage real estate, I don't answer to anybody. I answer to myself. And the thing with that, really important thing is that even if you wake up at 4 or 10 a.m., it really doesn't matter. As long as you can get, like Phil said, you don't have to put out a lot of fires. You can get what you need done. You get a client to the closing table. It doesn't matter. You work 10 hours a day, 5 hour a day, 6 hours a day. It doesn't matter. You work weekends. But what I really enjoy is exactly that, man. Like I can travel anywhere as long as I have my laptop, I have my phone. Nobody slows down. There have been cases where I've been solving these fire problems that Phil talks about, and I'm taking my kid to the doctor's office, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm sorry, I got to take this call, and I got kicked out. I'm looked at like it's embarrassing. It's like, okay, this idiot, but I have to do this because somebody's sitting somewhere on a closing table or trying to get there. And if I don't answer to this person right now, they're going to lose their head. They're not going to do an extension that is needed because a condo, let's say, is not even listening to CPM. It's not my fault. It's not the buyer's fault. It's not the seller's fault. But everybody's pissed because they want to close on a certain day. They have obligations. Somebody needs money to pay something off, or it's a family that's trying to sell a property that they need to pay off their bills. It could be anything. And you're stuck. You're like, but it's not even my problem, but somebody's got to get in there, calm the situation down, and all you need is a reasonable 24 extra hours. But sometimes to get those 24 hours, you're like, man, why do I have to do all this? But at the end of it,
We're always problem solvers,
right?
man.
But you know what? I'll have you both tell me what you think. Either you'll agree or disagree, but I think that's the fun part of the business, which fulfills you because, like Phil said, if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. But being able to sleep at night knowing you did something good by somebody, either turned somebody into a homeowner, saved them thousands of dollars, or because you did something, even it was not your responsibility, but it gave somebody a good night's sleep. They didn't lose thousands of dollars in escrow, all this hard work, and didn't go sour. I think that is such a fulfilling feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That
absolutely,
the
100%.
next day you're like, I want to do this again.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because the next day we're still without a job because that client's finished now, right? You're
Yep.
without a job now. You got to look for another job.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no better feeling. Me and my wife always say there's no better feeling than helping, a first time home buyer or client, get into a house and fulfill their dreams. Definitely we love what we do. We're passionate about what we do and we love helping people. And there's no better satisfying feeling, especially when you have somebody that really appreciates it. Hey, this, we couldn't have not done this without you or, or just get them out of a situation they couldn't do on their own. So, it's definitely, very gratifying.
So we just wanted our audience and everyone to know that we are evolving. We are changing up this podcast. It's the Real Deal Trio now. It's our first show, so we wanted to give you a little bit of insight about who we are, what we're going to be doing, and what we're going to be talking about. So in today's episode, we encompassed all three: but our business, our balance, and definitely some real estate. And we might not sprinkle all three of them in every show. We might sprinkle a little bit of real estate. We might sprinkle a little bit of balance. We might do a whole show on just business and talk about local businesses. So we'll be going all over the place, and we'll be focusing on Florida because that's where we're based, and that's where we want you guys to move around, and we want to be your preferred people. Are go preferred go-to people. So you guys want to add anything else at closing? And we will have a pre-recorded closing and a pre-recorded intro this time so you guys can have our detailed information without us, flubbing it up every time.
Let's end on a positive note and let everybody know that, guys, thank you again so much for all your support. We're very grateful that, all our subscribers are continuously listening, sharing our episodes, still downloading. And even though we've been gone for a little bit, your support means a lot. Because I think what Mohit, me, and Phil realized, apart from our names ending in Ani, which is a weird coincidence, is that, you network with people, you meet people, and you build connections. And a lot of times when you meet people you never knew, the opportunity to meet them, share knowledge, and grow together, and then also bring it to all you listeners over here, everyone, it gives us an opportunity to grow as well. So thank you for helping us actually grow and evolve into better business people, better, I would say professionals, and learning more about life ourselves just with having you all. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, guys.
And I'll let Mohit wrap up the episode.
Thank you for joining us today on the Real Deal Trio podcast, where we dive deep into the exciting worlds of real estate, business, and mastering that sweet life balance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us continue delivering content that matters to you. Stay pumped for our upcoming episodes, jam-packed with expert insight, game-changing strategies, and Florida real estate. For more exclusive contents and behind-the-scene action, follow us on Facebook, search for The Real Deal Trio group page, and for Instagram at The Real Deal Trio Pod. And for YouTube, search for The Real Deal Trio Podcast. We will have all these links to our social media account and some more in the description. We would love to be your go-to experts for all your real estate needs in Florida. Shoot us an email, realdealtrio@gmail.com. Until next time, keep balancing the hustle, the deals, and the moments that make life truly extraordinary. This is the Real Deal Trio podcast, signing off.